Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. I told my entitled daughter that if she wanted me to raise her baby, then she shouldn't have gotten pregnant. After that, my first boss and how he got the whole team every certification available. And after that, am I the jerk for calling my hot-tempered guy coworker emotional to embarrass him into calming down? Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to raise her own baby. How can I when you won't give me one, Reddit boy? So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. I told my entitled daughter that if she wanted me to raise her baby, then she shouldn't have gotten pregnant. I'm 52, male. My daughter, Amanda, who's 27, and her husband, Chris, who's 25, got married a few months ago. Amanda has lived on her own since college, but still is in the general area. Currently, Amanda and Chris aren't that focused on their future, mostly on having fun and doing things while they're still young. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion, and I think that young people should have that kind of period in their life, especially after lockdown. I got a call from Amanda. She and Chris told me how they've taken several tests and confirmed that Amanda is pregnant. They would be hosting an announcement dinner, but wanted immediate family to know right away. They could barely wait as they had been trying since they were married. Note that this was an intended pregnancy. I told them I was thrilled to be a grandpa. The dinner party happened last week, and the announcement was met with only happiness and excitement. Chris and Amanda were talking to a friend, and Chris made a comment along the lines of, "Good thing that Bobby, me, will while we're at work." I was confused and asked what they were talking about. Amanda revealed that she and Chris were expecting me to always watch the baby while they were working, and so they could have fun time while not working. Now, I love my kids and will never regret being their dad, but I didn't sign up for a new baby. I'm done with all that. I want to enjoy my retirement and be free without any kids. I explained this to Amanda and Chris, also that there are many great daycare options in the area. Amanda began to cause a scene because, "You told me that you were thrilled to be a grandpa." I responded that exactly, I was thrilled to be a grandpa, not a parent to this baby. She said that I should help out since I don't have to worry about working. I receive a pension, and that she's young and these are supposed to be the best years of her life, and she thinks it's unfair that she and Chris' life should be all about a baby. I was very frank and responded that, "Amanda, of course you and Chris' life is going to be all about a baby. That's what it means to be a parent. You should not have gotten pregnant if you just expected someone else to raise your kid." Amanda yelled at me, "Don't be surprised when I put you in a crappy nursing home." My son, Michael, says that I was harsh in my delivery, but not my message. My son, Nathan, agreed that Amanda and Chris are expecting too much, and it was irresponsible to purposely get pregnant when they believe they don't have time to raise a baby. My sister, Sandra, however, told me my comment was callous, and I haven't raised a newborn in 20 years and don't realize how much harder being a parent has gotten. And I can agree to start providing at least 4 days of childcare per week, then go from there. Multiple family members are agreeing with Sandra, so I'm looking for some unbiased perspectives on here. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. I have 17 grandbabies and have raised several of them. Helping and raising are two very distinctive different things. Enjoy your grandkid, but do not get wrapped up in the raising of him or her. Trust me, it doesn't stop at 4 days a week. Not the jerk. If you can't put your baby first, you're not ready to be a parent. I don't even think your delivery was callous. They intentionally got pregnant and planned on relying on a parent who has not even been consulted to raise their kid so that they can enjoy the best years of their life. This screams irresponsible, and she probably shouldn't be a parent if she's not ready to make her life about her own baby. I'm also sorry, but Sandra is just being an enabling lunatic. Child rearing has never been easy. Every generation has different struggles. If she feels so strongly that you refusing to be a parent all over again is making you a jerk, then maybe she can volunteer for the job of being a free babysitter since she's willing to dump the responsibility on you. Tell your daughter you'll save the best years of your life for living as a grandpa. She won't have enough money to take care of her own kid, much less a nursing home. Your daughter seems to think she's a Kardashian. Oh wait, even they watch their own kids. You're not obligated to provide childcare for someone else's kid, period. Sandra suggesting you start at a minimum of 4 days per week of childcare is borderline delusional. Your daughter's response of threatening to put you in a crappy nursing home if you don't provide her with full-time unpaid childcare so she could enjoy being in her late 20s despite the fact that she's been actively trying to get pregnant for a while is more than a little out of touch. That suggests that she's either massively immature, entitled, or most probably both. Not the jerk. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his daughter? Please let us know. People who try to put the responsibility of raising their kids onto others don't even deserve to have kids. My first boss and how he got the whole team every certification available. When I turned 14 years old, I got my first summer job and had one of the best bosses I'd ever had. I recently found out that, unfortunately, my mentor and someone I would consider a friend, John, passed away. Although it's been well over 20 years, I still use the lessons learned and the work ethic he passed on to me. Although at times it could be hard, he was more than fair and always did the right thing for those that worked for him. This is the story of John versus the new president. Before I get into this story, I need to give some background and context on John. John was the textbook all-American boy. John had attended a prestigious boarding school somewhere in New England and eventually attended Yale back in the late 50s and 60s, and was not only a scholar, but a three-sport athlete. He played football, he boxed, and he was the captain of the track and field team. Fast forward to when this story takes place, and John was still in phenomenal shape for a late 60s, early 70s man. John opted to move out to the country, start a family to follow his passion, which was teaching at the local high school and coaching high schoolers in various sports. Obviously, he was the high school football coach, taught track and field, he was an outstanding shot put athlete, and could run the mile and many other long distances. As a teacher, he had the summers off and became a lifeguard at the local town beach, eventually becoming the captain of the lifeguards. Over time, he developed standards for the town, county, state lifeguards to pass. He really transformed what was a ragtag style of lifeguards into a full-fledged official lifeguard corps, training academy, and set the standards for what is still used today. John was eventually hired to run the lifeguards and manage an entire private beach club instead of working for the town beach. One of the biggest challenges of this, since it was a private beach club, John now reported into a president of the beach club who oversaw how things were run. I started working for John as a helper on the beach and then eventually a lifeguard, and for the first couple of summers, things were great. The president of the beach club took pride in having the best staff and making sure that lifeguards were well paid, and to his credit, safety was the utmost priority. This private beach club certainly catered to the more wealthy clientele who wanted a nicer club instead of going to the public beach. Some of the advantages were the amenities, which were lockers, cabanas, private parking, a very nice restaurant that served great food and drinks. This was one of the few beach clubs that also had the ability to serve alcoholic beverages. One of the good things John had instituted was that any returning members of the staff from the previous summers automatically got a raise. This ensured that staff returned the next summer, avoiding a lot of retraining and, as you can imagine, growing pains with the new staff. What was even better was that if you returned multiple summers, you still got an additional raise. Most summers, this was $1 or $2. As an example, I started out at $7.25 at 14 years old. This was back in the late 90s. And by the time I was in college, I was making almost $15 an hour. Typically, the president of the club serves a term, which is a few years, and when his term was up, the new president was ushered in. Upon taking office, the new president loudly proclaimed that he wanted to ensure that the club had fiscal responsibility, and he would be personally going over the books with a fine-tooth comb. His first order of business was to cut everybody's pay all the way back to minimum wage and fire most of the lifeguards. Now, as noted above, the staff was there for a long time, knowing most of the members and how to run the place. Prior to the start of the summer, upon learning that their hourly wage would be cut, most of the senior staff immediately left and were quickly hired elsewhere. The lifeguards were spared at the appeal of John to ensure safety. Although some senior guards left for other beaches and pools, John was able to convince the lifeguards as he would take care of things. On to the malicious compliance. While John agreed to have the staff take the pay cuts, he convinced the new president that any lifeguards with additional certifications would get $2 an hour on top of the base minimum wage. The new president obviously didn't consider that any of these lifeguards would put in the effort or if it was feasible to get any certifications in time for the summer season, and he agreed to the plan. As you can imagine, John basically established the process and curriculum for becoming a lifeguard and personally trained, and hired most, if not all, of the trainers in the town and county. John was also a volunteer fireman and knew all the EMS personnel, and not surprisingly, had either taught them in school or hired them as lifeguards in their past lives. John quickly called in favors from every trainer and certifier across the country who were more than happy to repay all the favors John had done for them in the past. Most waived the training fees and expedited the training sessions for the lifeguards, and they wanted to promote safety for the community. Prior to the start of the Memorial Day weekend and what is effectively the unofficial start of summer, all of his lifeguards and new staff became certified in pretty much every single possible certification that existed at the time. I mean, I'm talking crazy, complete overkill and unnecessary certifications for a regular lifeguard. We got trained as either EMS and EMTs. Although lifeguards had to be certified in CPR, we retrained and got our CPR certifications again. Life-saving ocean and pool rescue techniques, certified swimming instructor, certified food inspector, the club had a kitchen, certified county pool operator license, certified sanitary inspector, cleaning the bathrooms. We even had one guy who wanted to learn how to scuba. The county's firefighters had a water rescue team who coincidentally were certified scuba instructors. Most of us guards became certified divers, open water divers, deep water rescue divers, the whole works. I could go on and on about all the certifications we got. The lifeguards not only went back to their original wage, but in most cases went well above what their previous wages were. At 18 years old and back in the 90s, I personally went from making $15 an hour to $27 an hour, all due to the certifications and trainings. It took a month or so for the fallout to happen. While the new president tried to renege on the deal, John was smart enough to have a formal arrangement in place, and there was nothing the new president could do besides complain about it. He winded up resigning his position to spend more time with his family at the beach. We rarely saw him around that summer, and I think he eventually stopped coming altogether, opting to join another club. John made nice with the new president and explained his philosophy on training and keeping staff. The new president agreed, and some of the senior staff winded up coming back with the promise of their original wage. A few weeks ago, I heard from friends and former colleagues that just at the start of the summer season, John passed away in his sleep of natural causes at the ripe age of 91. He was still working, although not as much in the past. It was more of a I want to keep busy type of thing than a need to work. Every morning, he would take out the lifeguard's rowboat and get some exercise in. After all, he was a certified rowing instructor. Rest in peace, John. You were the best. Am I the jerk for calling my hot-tempered guy coworker emotional to embarrass him into calming down? So I'm an engineer and working on a team with 7 decently chill guys and one guy with anger issues. Like, he can't just have a respectful disagreement. He'll raise his voice and yell and get up close to your face. I can't stand it. So I started by just complaining to my boss about it, and he brushed it under the rug, saying he's just like that. And if I thought he was bad now, I should have seen him 10 years ago before he mellowed out. It makes me wonder what he was like 10 years ago, because he sure ain't mellow now. It's also a small enough company that there's no HR, only the corporate management, which doesn't help. So I took a different approach. I stopped calling him angry or calling what he was doing arguing or yelling. I just swapped in the words emotional or throwing a tantrum or having a fit. I was kind of hoping if I shift his reputation from domineering, big man vibes to emotional and tantruming, weak, sad baby vibes. So I started just making subtle comments. Like if I had a meeting with him and he got a temper, I'd mention to the other people, "Wow, it's crazy how emotional Jay got. I don't know how he has the energy to throw a hissy fit at 9 a.m. I'm barely awake." Or when my boss asked me to recap a meeting he missed, I told him, "Dan, Jack, and James had some really great feedback on my report for this client. Jay kinda had trouble managing his emotions and had a temper tantrum again, but you know how he gets." Or when a coworker asked why he was yelling, I'd say, "Honestly, I don't even know. He was getting so emotional about it, so he wasn't speaking rationally." I tried to drop it in subtly, and some of my coworkers started picking it up. I don't think consciously, just saying stuff like, "Oh, another one of Jay's fits," or something. I got gutsy enough to even start saying it to his face. "Hey, I can hardly understand what you're trying to explain when you're so emotional." And again, my coworkers started picking up on it, and I even caught some of them telling him to get a hold of himself. After a while, he started to get a reputation as emotional and irrational, which I could tell upset him, but he stopped yelling at me so much. Anyway, he slipped once this week, and I just said, "I really can't talk to you when you're being this emotional." and he blew up at me, asking why I was always calling him that. I shrugged and said, "Dude, you look like you're on the verge of tears. Go look in the mirror before you ask me." And he got really angry. I suggested he might start crying. He was red-faced, angry, not tearful angry, and I could tell. I feel like a bit of a jerk for being so petty and trying to gaslight this guy into thinking everyone around him sees him as a crybaby. But it also mostly worked when the proper channels didn't. Am I the jerk for calling my coworker emotional when he got mad? Not the jerk, because he is, in fact, overly emotional. Nothing you said, except maybe the tears bit, is in any way a lie or even exaggeration. Stick to the truth. Not the jerk. Here's another statement that you can use. "Jay, why don't you step outside and take a minute to pull yourself together? We'll wait. Go on, it's okay." Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or Jay? Please let us know. I'm petty, but I would have said, "What's wrong, Jay? You gonna cry? Come on, cry, baby, cry." Fiance pranked me, so I left his family's trip. My fiance's mother, Leah, doesn't like me. Honestly, I don't like her either. I've never felt this way about another human being before, but she's been nothing but awful since day one. It got to the point she was telling people she didn't even have a son and wouldn't speak to him because she dislikes me so much. I could see how depressed he was over losing her and agreed to do family therapy. Leah agreed in therapy to stop being mean to me if she didn't have to talk to me at all, so she just pretends I don't exist. There were some very strict boundaries with this. She only gets to see her son occasionally. She will have no relationship with her grandkids, and if she starts with me again, he is done with her. Leah happily agreed. Their relationship is kind of awkward these days, but I know he needs her in his life, and she is much better when we do see her. I recently agreed to go on a family trip with them. We attended a wedding out of state and spent a few days there. Leah was there, but she is very happy to not speak to me, so I wasn't worried. We were going to a water park with Leah and his two sisters, Leah's husband, and one of his sister's boyfriends. I had a swimsuit, but my fiance said he didn't think I should wear one that tied in the back because some of the rides were very intense, and he said he saw one that he loved for me when he was out with his sister. I thought that was sweet. I love wearing things I know he likes, so I wore it. Imagine my surprise when we got there and Leah had the same one. It was like something out of a movie. She stopped mid-walk and just glared at me. Everyone was laughing because they were all in on it. They saw something similar on TikTok and thought it would be funny due to how much we don't like each other. They had been trying to pull it off for a while, but Leah bought a swimsuit while on the trip, so they saw the opportunity. Her husband and my fiance were taking pictures of us. Leah was upset. I was about to cry. Leah wasn't happy but got over it because she does join in on the pranks and the joking in the family. I don't, so it felt undeserved. And she and her husband have much more of a playful back and forth dynamic, so she didn't feel so betrayed. It was still really embarrassing walking around with her. I know this is probably petty, but I also felt insecure because she has a nicer body than me, and I just didn't want to feel like there was any competition. Leah's husband even said something about, "At least I get to be married to the hot one." I decided to leave because I wasn't having fun. My fiance was upset and felt like I ruined the day, but did offer to leave with me. I said it was okay, but when I got back to the hotel, I decided to change my flight and go home. I just don't like being the butt of the joke and didn't want to be there. My fiance called me very hurt and said he felt leaving was an overreaction and now he's embarrassed in front of his family. Not the jerk. At this point, I would be rethinking the entire wedding. What kind of jerk plays a prank like this on the woman he professes to love? A successful prank is the one where all is said and done, everyone is laughing. This one humiliated you. That's not a prank, that's straight up emotional mistreatment. And Leah got over it because she enjoyed your humiliation and that her son is coming closer to the family with an act like this. Not the jerk. Honestly, the prank is the least of your problems. You're engaged to someone whose mother doesn't like you to the point where she pretends you don't exist and doesn't even speak to you, and he tolerates that. Good luck marrying this dude. You're in for a bumpy ride. Not the jerk. If that was a joke, then why weren't the ones who were the butt of it laughing? This is cruel. He and his mother actively went to therapy, created boundaries, everyone abided by them, and they do this? He's been to therapy over this relationship and he does this? He's a sick individual. So is the rest of the family. I'm sorry, I would have left too. Wow. So because his joke didn't pull off the way he thought, he's now embarrassed? You ruined his joke because of your response? Well darn, shame on you. I'm being facetious. By the way, question to ask your ex-fiancé. What was everyone expecting with this joke? Were they expecting the both of you to laugh? What did your fiancé expect? By the way, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, apple being the sun and the tree being Leah. He's exhibiting her behaviors in his complete disregard for you. Please don't marry this person. You will always be invalidated. Your feelings mean nothing. He only went to counseling to save his relationship with his mother, not to protect you from her. He appeases his family. This is horrible. I don't know. I think you might need to get thicker skin. It doesn't seem like some awful prank. I think you might be reading too much into it. I think it would have been better for everyone if you just went along with it. Own the situation. Everyone sucks here. You're the jerk. OMG. This was an actual innocent joke and maybe a bridge for you to connect with Leah on. Your first sign you're the jerk is the fact that Leah got over it and you didn't. I wouldn't have been okay with it if you just felt uncomfortable and went home, but what really makes you the jerk is you changing your flight and leaving early. That's totally unacceptable. Honestly, this is a red flag for the family in general. I will say the joke about being married to the hot one was mean, and your husband should have piped up and said something though. Other than that, you were not the butt of a mean joke, and you way overreacted. I'm going to try to look at this from a different perspective, one where maybe your boyfriend didn't have bad intentions, but missed the mark horribly. You said his is a family of pranksters. That's how they interact. Perhaps by pulling this prank, involving two people who don't like each other, maybe they thought it would break the tension and possibly bring you into the family by including you. Don't get me wrong, that blew up in his face big time, as it should have. It was an absolutely horrible thing for all of them to do, and turned out far worse than anyone thought. End of the day, boyfriend is a huge jerk, as is his family. You are not the jerk, and I'm sorry this happened to you. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or mother-in-law? Please let us know. Don't marry into a prankster family, unless you really love those kinds of people. I'm not your free babysitter. Thanks for asking though. So I have a distant friend. She's a friend of a friend type of deal. She has 3 kids. I have 3 cats. Her kids are enrolled in a camp very close to my house. Pickup for the camp is at 4 p.m. The line for pickup for the kids is 3 p.m. Yeah, it can take a really long time to pick up kids at that camp. A big old line of cars forms up every day to get the kids. It's a bit chaotic. Now here's the story. This friend of a friend has been using her lunch breaks to fetch the kids from camp. Sometimes the traffic is so bad she's late getting back to work. I'm not sure if she takes the kids with her to work or drops them off someplace, but the situation at work is getting dicey. Her boss is sick of her coming back late. Now, I live very close to this camp. My house is on the pick up your kids parade route. Friend of a friend has come up with a brilliant idea, in her eyes anyway. She's asked me to get the kids for her, all 3 of them. She would like me to take them back to my house, give them a snack or something, and wait for her to pick them up. She thinks it will be much easier to fetch them from my house than the camp, since she has to drive into the camp and I can merely walk. I said no, I'm not a babysitter, I'm not a nanny. I'm an artist, I have a job. I work from home, but I have a job. I'm not watching 3 kids under the age of 10 for unknown hours and have to provide snacks for them as well. She said that she would pay me $20 to fetch the kids. I said, no, I already have $20, so I'm good. She does not find this funny, but I sure did. She tells me she's a single mom trying to do her best. It takes a village. I'm so close to the camp. Why can't I just do this favor for her? I say, because it's not a favor, it's a job. I already have a job. I work from home. I'm an artist. Also, I don't know your kids. I barely know you. I'm not watching 3 stranger kids for anyone. That's just how that cookie crumbles. Well, she is unhappy. Very unhappy. Her next plan is to set into motion. Send in the mommy group. She gets my friend and a few other friends to email and call me. Nothing like a good mommy wagon train to circle around with. Except that doesn't work either. You see, I'm not in high school, so the whole peer pressure thing no longer applies to my life. I don't care if they like me or not. Also, I'm not a human mommy. I'm a fur baby mommy. Other fur baby mommies don't care about such things. We are a super laid-back group in general. Mommy group made some big points with me. 1. How easy it would be for me to get the kids from camp. 2. I could do arts and crafts with the kids until mom came and got them. 3. I would not be lonely during the day because I would have them to play with. 4. It would be a nice thing to do for a single mom who is struggling with a situation right now. All really interesting points that have absolutely no impact on me. Arts and crafts with the kids? Are you for real? I don't do arts and crafts. I sell art for a living. I'm not a Michaels. The kids can't help. I don't want them to. And my studio some days is a full-on wreck. I don't even let the cats in there on those days. Plus, single mommy with 3 kids is driving a new BMW. Perhaps she should have gotten a more economic car and a professional nanny. I reminded them all that if it was so easy to do this one thing, then they too can get the kids from camp. Heck, park in my dang driveway if you need, ladies. Then they can walk in and grab the kids, take them home, and do arts and crafts. Plus, friend of a friend will pay them $20 for their trouble. Not sure if that's for the week or per day, but who cares? It's like printing money at that point. All they have to do is provide the snacks and wait for her to claim the kids. Also, truly funny reply, but still not getting a laugh from the mommy group. In fact, I only got stunned silence and I think cricket sounds. I'm just not hitting my target audience with this humor. Well, it took a while for friend of a friend to see that I'm not willing to provide childcare for free, for the $20, or for the sake of the village. I also pointed out that my idea of juice boxes is a Franzia refreshing white carton, and my idea of a snack is waiting until dinner. All points she finds to be unhelpful and not practical. Sadly, friend of a friend mommy is still racing to get her kids from the camp. Turns out the mommy group folks are just too busy to fetch the kiddies for her too. Bummer, I know. I thought it would be so easy for them, since they had made such good points about me picking them up. Life moves on, camp is still swinging, the parade of cars grows longer and slower every day. Then today this happened. I'm inside my house, sitting on my couch, binging the good, the bad, and the ugly of street food vendors on YouTube. I hurt my back, so I'm leaning on a heating pad. You can see me from my living room window if you are on the parade of cars picking up their kids from the camp. My feet up on the coffee table, my cats are on the porch. My juice box, Franzia, is to the right of me. Just then, I get an angry text on my phone. I thought you said you were working. Too busy to get the kids. Looks like you're just sitting there doing nothing but watching TV. What's wrong with you? Can't you be a better friend? OMG, it's friend of a friend. Neato. To which I answer, I am working. I'm on my iPad drawing. I'm an artist. I can do that. Gee, ain't my work grand? I'm too busy to get your kids. It looks like I'm watching TV because I am watching TV. YouTube. I hurt my back, so that's what's wrong with me. Thanks for asking. And I can't be a better friend because I don't want to pick up your kids. I feel like if we got closer and communicated more, I would be obligated to fetch your babies. You do see how my way is much more convenient for me. Her. She sends me some weird emojis. Me. Are you sitting in the car outside my window right now? Her. Yes. Me. Turns around slowly. Big ol' wine glass in my hand. I smile. I wink. I lift the glass. I text. Cheers. She was not amused, still no laughs. I think I'm losing my touch. Are you laughing, dear reader? Yes, she does know I'm on Reddit. Hi, if you're reading this, thanks for making me laugh today. I told on my Karen coworker and got her fired. I, 30 male, have worked at my current employer for 3 years. Last year, in March of 2020, I received a promotion to project manager. In the beginning, everything went well, but in the last month, I've been getting more and more negative feedback. I did not understand what was going on or why people were becoming so negative about me. I was losing clients and several colleagues were really upset with me. I was at a loss. I started talking to my manager and my department head about following courses, getting monthly feedback to perform better. I just wanted to live up to the promotion I received. I felt like I was failing. Then a friend/colleague, 27 female, of mine came to me angry and demanded that I apologize for what I said. I was really confused and asked her why she was so upset with me. She explained she received an email where I was basically blaming her for the issues that I was dealing with. This was an email a client forwarded to her. I was at a loss and explained I never sent out an email like that and asked if she could show me. She did, and it had my name, my send address, and everything seemed like it was for me, but I never sent it. Then it clicked to me. My assistant, 39 female, has access to my email and has the ability to send as me. She's also the only one that has these rights. I was flabbergasted, and so much started to make sense. She was next in line for my job and did not receive the promotion. I did. Checked all her sent emails on her PC while she was out for lunch and saw dozens of emails sent as if it was from me. An email, still open on her screen, showed my email address and a written message to clients with misinformation, passive aggressiveness, and straight-up lies. These were sent out under my name. I made screenshots and sent them to myself, then went to my manager and the head of the department. They were angry. She was fired that same day. I was relieved and all of my colleagues were informed. I thought I was completely in the right here, but some people at work are complaining that I violated the company policy for snooping on her PC and violating her privacy. My boss and direct colleagues have my back, but the people that knew her, she has worked there since 2011 and I've only been there since 2018, say that I went too far. Apparently, she's a single mother with 2 kids and needed this job. I also need this job, and she was more than willing to sacrifice me for her benefit. I don't see how I could be in the wrong for defending myself. Maybe I'm just too close to the situation to see it. Did I go too far by going on her PC? Update. They just let me know that they are holding a meeting to clarify what exactly happened. They were catching on to people that weren't happy about her being fired and they want to quell any issues before they start taking root. I'll update again once the meeting is over. It's in 1 hour and 20 minutes from now. Update 2. Meeting took about 1.5 hours, and after that, I was in and out of talks with colleagues and other people. It was properly explained what she was doing and has done to me and the company. The attitude towards me noticeably changed in a positive direction, with a lot of people apologizing to me and explaining they've known her for years, were friends, and could not imagine her actually doing something like this. Honestly, I'm happy it ended up this way. HR and my boss really had my back here and preemptively handled to avoid any lingering negativity. Nothing but praise for them. I requested some time off, which was approved, and I'll be home for a week starting next week. Per my request/advice, they are also going to revise, or at least look at, the company policy regarding access to other people's emails and the other security issues I've noticed.
Huge shout out to our newest official channel member, Amanda. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really means the world to Reddit Boy and I. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.